There is a particular kind of person that society has never quite known what to do with. They leave parties early, not because they are having a bad time, because they have had enough of a good time, and they are ready to go home. They do not fill silence with noise, they sit in it comfortably, while everyone around them reaches for their phone. Society has a word for these people: introverts. But that word has been so misused that it has lost almost all of its meaning. Because what we are actually talking about is something much more specific, much more interesting. We are talking about people who have figured out something that most people spend their entire lives running from: that being alone, genuinely alone, is not something to be fixed. For decades, psychology treated introversion as a mild deficiency, a personality type that needed managing. The world was built for extroverts: open plan offices, networking events, group brainstorms. And if you did not thrive in those environments, the assumption was that something in you needed adjusting. Then the research started catching up. In 2003, published findings showing that people who could tolerate and even enjoy solitude were significantly more likely to develop deep skills. This was not a small finding. It reframed solitude not as a social failure, but as a cognitive advantage. Your brain in solitude operates completely differently than your brain in a group. The default mode network, the system that activates when you are not focused on the outside world, becomes extraordinarily active when you are alone. This is the network responsible for self-reflection, for connecting unrelated ideas, for processing emotion, for imagination. Every time you fill silence with noise, a podcast, a scroll, background television, you are preventing your brain from doing the work it was designed to do when left alone. People who like to be alone are not avoiding the world. They are doing something the world does not give them enough credit for. They are processing it. Here is where it gets complicated. Not everyone who spends time alone is doing it from a place of strength. There is a difference between someone who leaves the party because they are full and someone who never got invited in the first place. Psychology distinguishes between two types of aloneness. The first is solitude, voluntary, intentional, restorative. The second is loneliness, involuntary, painful, corrosive. These two states look identical from the outside. Same empty apartment, same Friday night in, completely different internal experience. Research consistently shows that high solitude seekers report lower levels of anxiety, greater emotional regulation, and stronger sense of personal identity. Think about what that means. The ability to be alone is one of the strongest predictors of psychological stability that we have. Most people cannot do it. Most people will choose to give themselves mild electric shocks rather than sit with their own thoughts. That is not a metaphor. That is a real experiment. People who like to be alone have built something most people do not have: a relationship with themselves. This is the part nobody talks about. People who are comfortable in solitude did not arrive there by accident. A few patterns emerge consistently. The first is early independence. Time to play alone, to build things, to read, to imagine. The second is a high internal world. People who like to be alone tend to have rich inner lives. They think in narratives. They process through writing or music or building. The third, and this one is counterintuitive, is that many of them are not antisocial. They are highly selective. They do not dislike people. They dislike shallow interaction. They will cancel a networking event without a second thought, but show up without hesitation for a single deep conversation that lasts 4 hours. They are not avoiding connection. They are protecting the quality of it.